Obviously, the big news came out yesterday, another assassination attempt. Let me just throw this out there for everyone. I'm getting some really interesting tweets from people. I love this. This exposes who we are every time something like this happens. There are those making fun of it. Trending on X, stage assassination attempt. Wasn't staged. Trump is a laughing stock. Somebody sent me a message and tagged me in a tweet or a post on X that, they were just, I'm gonna read the tweet to you or whatever you want to call it. I don't know who this person originally did this, but it's a guy that follows me that tagged me in it. Does that make sense? I still don't understand why the Secret Service opened fire on a guy just trying to exercise his Second Amendment rights next to Trump's favorite golf course. Let's make fun of it. This exposes who you are. For all of us right-wing extremists, we aren't the ones doing the shooting, are we? Are we? There haven't been any assassination attempts on Vice President Harris. Trump's a horrible human being because he tweeted out, "I hate Taylor Swift." What a horrible human being. Well, somebody shot at him. Now you're all laughing about that. To me, this exposes the extremism on both sides. There are extremists on the far right and the far left. I learned a long time ago when I started in radio, when you're a novice, when you're a beginner at something, you make a lot of mistakes because you make a lot of assumptions. I learned a long time ago that people on my side of the political aisle do not have a corner on patriotism. That there are patriotic Americans that love their country on the other side of the political aisle from me. I learned that lesson. We also don't have, on the other side of the aisle, doesn't have the corner on crazy. And anybody out there that's on the opposite side of the aisle from me, it's one of the reasons why I love social media. I love social media because it exposes the idiocy of some people. What I mean by that is you get online, you are in some way are anonymous, so you can say the dumbest things in the world and then defend them. And it exposes who you are. And most people on the left are horrified by the attempted murder of anyone, just like most people on the right are horrified by it. But isn't it fascinating how it brings the crazy out in people? Because if this were the other way, if this was somebody on my side of the aisle that had tried to shoot somebody on the left, there'd be the gun control conversation. There would be, there's the crazy on the right. It's the angry. It's the basket of deplorables. It's all of those things. So let's do a little bit of this. Pierre Thomas over at ABC with the basics of what happened.
Sources telling ABC News at around 2 p.m., Secret Service personnel saw a suspect who appeared to be aiming an assault-style rifle. The Secret Service fired shots at the suspect, who dropped the rifle and fled. He was later captured a short distance away on a nearby highway. The FBI is now leading the investigation as authorities attempt to determine what exactly took place and why the man was at the golf course with the rifle. Officials saying the rifle has been recovered.
So how close did this guy actually get?
Law enforcement is saying the suspect was 300 to 500 yards away from the former president. Trump again not harmed and said to be in good spirits. But this was truly a dangerous situation.
So what do we know about this guy? What do we know about this suspect?
He's always saying hello, and he's a very good neighbor. And, I kind of was shocked that all of this is happening.
So this Ryan Routh, or Ruth, however you pronounce his last name, has been pretty outspoken politically. And this is what's interesting, is no one is going to place blame on anybody but him, and nor should they. This guy is nuts. Guy's crazy. We keep hearing about why do things happen. We blame things. If you remember, we say, it was when you go back to Columbine, the kids that committed that horrible act of the shooting at Columbine were listening to Marilyn Manson. And so that kind of music is what no, it doesn't. And if you go back even further, Charles Manson believed that he was getting secret messages from the Beatles' White Album, and people attributed that to the music. And no, there are kids that listen to all kinds of music and never do any damage. There are others that play video games, violent video games, which I hate. I don't like them. I think they're gross. They're too graphic for me. But there are plenty of kids that play video games and would never hurt a human being. So this idea that we're going to blame other things, no, these are people that are unstable. This is an unstable guy. But the idea that you're going to blame, and there MSNBC talked about Trump toning down the rhetoric, that somehow his rhetoric caused his injury. So isn't it strange? The Trump rhetoric may cause violence to other people, but then when it happens to him, it's his rhetoric that causes it to himself. So the same neighbor is talking about this guy going to Ukraine.
He was in Ukraine for a while when the Ukraine war first started.
So the suspect, another one, Christopher Tam, another neighbor, said, he didn't think this guy would be capable of this. He also talked about him in politics.
He didn't cause any uproar over any kind of political campaign or inclination.
And did any of the neighbors see this coming?
Never heard anything directly from him that expressed any kind of hatred or that would even make me worry about his ability to do something like he's being alleged to do. So
what does this say about us? And I don't know that it says anything about us. I'll be honest. You have a crazy person that lost his mind. The more we learn, the more we see about his political statements, but people make political statements all the time. People say things, people get angry. I know a lot of people that get angry about politics, and they say angry things. That doesn't make them dangerous. Why did this guy become dangerous? What is it about this guy? What is it about the president, the former president, that pushed this guy over the edge? And I'm sure we're going to find out. He makes his first court appearance. But the political rhetoric in our country has gotten insane. There is a double standard, and it bothers me about the double standard when I guess it can be seen both ways. I'm just seeing it from my lens. When my side of the aisle speaks, we are divisive and we are angry and we are dangerous because the things we say. I'll give you an example. The conversation that's going on right now about Haitian migrants in Ohio. Well, it could cause violence. We're hearing there are threats. You have to stop that kind of rhetoric. But when somebody takes a shot at the former president and somebody that's obviously on the other side of the aisle, there is absolutely no blame for the rhetoric on that side of the aisle and what is said about Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. Donald Trump wants to be a dictator. If you look at some of the TV commercials that are out there that are supported by the Harris campaign, we know who he is. He's a dictator. He's told us who he is. He has already said he wants control, and he's going to get it. So if one side of the aisle's rhetoric is dangerous, isn't the other side of the aisle? Or is it that the rhetoric isn't dangerous? Maybe there are people out there that are dangerous. Maybe we should be looking at that. So which is it? It's the double standard that gets me. The people that want to talk about what a liar he is. Well, the vice president's been fact-checked about 18 times now after that debate. At what point do we say nobody is perfect on either side of the aisle? When do we say that there is good and bad in all walks of life? This virtue signaling nonsense. This guy is just nuts. But somehow we're going to try to blame one person, one school of thought. I just don't get it.
Thanks for watching the Mike Broomhead Show. Catch up on Amazing Arizonans, a KTAR News podcast, and click the button in the middle to subscribe.